It's that time for all of you rugby lovers and enthusiasts back home. Scrum the Rugby is back on your television sets every Friday here on Scrum Down on Zuku Sports. I'm Jotham Makanga. In studio with me today, we of course the familiar face of Jason.
Hey, how you doing, Jotham?
How you doing? And of course, Tito. How is Strathmore doing?
Oh, we're doing good.
Special mention, Mamba.
Let's not start.
All right. Okay.
We'll survive.
We'll survive.
Yeah.
All right, last weekend, exciting weekend of rugby. The second leg of the National Sevens Series kicked off 8 hours by road in Kisumu and 45 minutes by air, according to Tito, Dala Sevens. Now, weekend was muddy, full of rain, but still we had exciting Sevens rugby action. Very quickly, Jason, what's your take on the second leg of the National Sevens Series?
Fantastic weekend of rugby, like you said. KCB continuing to show their dominance and definite intent on reclaiming the title. So fantastic performance. Some surprising performances. Catholic University reaching the final of the bowl and continuing to do well.
All right.
Yeah.
Tito, brief analysis also on your part on Dala Sevens before we go straight into it.
Definitely KCB's continued dominance. I mean, it shows it's a very cohesive side. They've gelled quite well and they seem to be enjoying themselves, especially out there in the mud. Their physicality must have been an advantage to them. And the rise of Impala. The previous week, Strathmore had wiped them off. Came back Kisumu 14-12, a very, very, very good result.
A bit also more confident.
Yes.
A bit more settled.
And then obviously concerns, the continued slide of Mwamba. Sevens has always been their forte, and now they seem to be on a downward spiral. I know they lost a couple of senior players. I know Lavina Sego got injured. Chris Osego couldn't travel.
Was this from the first Lavin's injury? Was this from the first
No,
weekend?
he actually got injured on Thursday training,
Yeah.
so he couldn't travel to Kisumu. So they really missed his cool head. And I hope they'll take the 2-week break to seriously
recover.
do a stock take and improve.
All right then. Now, just in case you missed it, of course, in case you missed the mud, the rain, the runs, the hits, here are the video highlights from Dala Sevens.
The second round of the National Sevens Rugby Circuit took the teams to the lake city of Kisumu for the Dala Sevens at the Mamboleo showground. National Circuit defending champions KCB had thrown down the gauntlet in the first tournament of the series, winning the Kenta Sevens in Nairobi. The fans did not disappoint as they came in their numbers for what promised to be an exciting day of rugby. In their first two matches of Pool A, KCB were ruthless, hitting Nondies 31-0 before thrashing TUK 51-0. Mumbo was expected to give KCB a tough match, a feat they almost accomplished, but KCB were just too good, finishing off day one with a 100% record in a 12-5 win.
I still think that that we're on track, actually. We're on track. We have a good form. We have no injuries at the moment, and everybody's playing his best, so we'll have a chance.
Kenta Sevens finalists Kenya Harlequins had mixed results on day one after an impressive 36-5 win over Daystar University and a 36-0 blanking of Egerton University. Queens was stopped in their tracks by Nakuru RFC, who gave them a 28-5 beating. Another team to impress on day one was Homeboys RFC, who made it to the quarterfinals with a 100% record. Homeboys started with a narrow 22-15 win over Western Bulls before crashing host Kisumu RFC 47-0. Catholic University Monks, impressive at the Kenta Sevens, got a reality check when Homeboys hit them 35-5. Defending Dala Sevens champions Strathmore Leos were living dangerously, struggling to beat Blackbird 15-12 and a slightly better 33-12 win over Cabras. Leos met their match in their last pool match, going down 14-12 to group leaders Impala RFC. This was the most competitive pool, with the likes of underdogs Cabras showing flashes of brilliance in their matches. National Sevens rugby team coaches Paul True and Felix Ochieng were in Kisumu to look at the emerging talents who might be drafted in the National Sevens team.
I think this is a great opportunity for us to see, what kind of talent there is in Kenya, and also to understand, I think, the psyche of our own players, and to see, why they play the way they do, because obviously they've crafted their skill, with their clubs, and then coming into the national team. But I think this is a good platform for us to scout for local talent, and hopefully some of these boys will be selected and drafted into the national squad, and to prepare for our most important season, which obviously is the Olympic qualifying season going into the 2014-2015 campaign.
And the heavens opened up, sending everyone scampering for shelter as the rain was accompanied by strong winds.
I like the weather, especially the wet conditions, because we have been out there even in the World Series, and when the conditions get murky, Kenya starts to struggle. So we would like to see more and more competitions held in the same kind of conditions, because it gives us an all-round experience of conditions that rugby should be played at.
The heavy downpour posed a great challenge to the teams on day 2 of the competition. So in a repeat of the Kenta Sevens tournament final, KCB met Kenya Harlequins in their first quarter-final match as action moved on in day 2. The conditions were horrid. None of the teams were able to get a grip on the pitch conditions. KCB proved to be the sharper side, taking advantage of Quinn's mistakes to score 2 tries in a 10-0 win. In the second quarter-final match between Impala RFC and Western Bulls, the story was pretty much the same. The match was slow with a lot of handling errors, but Impala used 2 of their chances to run away with a 12-0 win. In the third quarter-final matchup, defending champions Strathmore Leos met Homeboys RFC. It was an even tighter match than the previous 2, and both teams resorted to kicks to avoid handling errors in the soggy conditions. Homeboys managed 1 try to emerge 7-0 winners. Only Nakuru RFC seemed to have mastered the conditions as they scored 3 tries against 1 for Nondis in a 17-5 win to wrap up the quarter-finals matches. In the semi-finals, it was a cautious approach by both KCB and Impala, with no team risking errors in a tight match. KCB were on the back foot most of the time despite leading 5-0 at half-time. A second try sealed a 10-0 win in the second half. High-scoring Homeboys once again fired a warning shot to KCB as they had no trouble seeing off Nakuru 19-7 with some hard running on the muddy pitch in the second semi-final match. And so the final was too close to call, with some quarters saying that finally KCB might have met their match in this epic final. Homeboys were quick off the blocks with their characteristic hard running. Philip Wamai caught them cold with the first try for KCB, running through a gap to score. Edwin Salamba doubled the lead for a 14-0 half-time lead. Michael Wanjala pulled a try back for Homeboys, but any hope of a comeback was killed by Oliver Manganich's try, the third for KCB. Final score, KCB 21, Homeboys 5.
Good game shown by Homeboys. Lots of quality seen on the Sevens field, and I'm happy. Most of all, as a KCB family, we thank God for the win.
This was KCB's first Dala Sevens tournament win since 2006. They celebrated in style as they bagged the second tournament in a row in the race for the National Sevens Circuit Championship.
A reminder, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Scrum and Rugby, also on Twitter, at Scrum and Rugby. Gentlemen, after 2 legs, the standings are KCB, number 1 lead, I think, with 44 points. Yeah. Coming number 2, Homeboys, vast improvement, as we mentioned earlier on, from the first leg with 36 points. Yeah. Kenya Harlequins, number 3, with 29 points. I know that offhand. Strathmore at 28 points, coming at number 4. Impala coming at number 5. Jason, I don't know where your allegiances lie at this point, given the weekend break.
No, I'm going to be very neutral, but I think a lot of teams will use the break to recuperate, maybe try and just tighten up a few things on maybe some fitness, some skills, game plans, but very, very close position 2 to 5. I think KCB, seem to be running away with this one at this point.
Well, it's a bit too early to tell, isn't it? I mean, they may be leading the log, but it's just the first 2 legs.
I think it's the way they're playing. I think they suddenly are just seem to be a cut above the rest of the teams.
How about Nakuru, top flight Nakuru? Vast improvement.
Nakuru...
3rd and 4th playoff this past weekend.
Yes, when you look at their performance in Kabeberi and compared to their performance in Kisumu, they are the big improvers alongside Impala. They've brought in their Kenya Cup players. Kabeberi, they look like it was a young side, experimenting a bit. They've brought in a few of their big names back on.
So a bit of more maturity and consistency.
Yes, there's more maturity, and the effect, you can never downplay the effect of senior players. And maybe that's what Mwamba is lacking right now, that reinforcement. And maybe going ahead, you may see Ombachi coming back in, you may see Agevi coming back into the side, just to lift the spirits.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's our wrap up on Dala Sevens. And rugby is predominantly a gentleman's sport, if I may put it that way. But once in a while, you do have certain aspects of the game that come in, that bring in the ladies' attention. On player profile today, we have Biko Adema. He's labeled unofficially as the poster boy of an international sevens team. So ladies, you're watching back home, please stay tuned. Biko Adema coming up.
He joined the Kenya team in 2007. Every season since then, he has played a part in the IRB Sevens circuit. Though he was not initially part of the Commonwealth Game team, he was drafted in to fill up a slot for his second appearance at the Commonwealth Games.
My first Commonwealth Games was obviously in Delhi, so coming for a second one. Initially I wasn't on the squad in the 12, but because somebody was unable to get the visa and all, I was asked to come and join the team, and I had to take the opportunity, and yeah, I'm glad I got to come here. Yeah.
Although Kenya did not make it past the main cup quarterfinals, Biko Adema had a remarkable near 100% conversion rate on his kicks throughout the tournament.
I missed my only one conversion, and yeah, I've been working on the kicks, so I guess it's paying off, and the only thing now is I need to keep on working on them and not stop. I mean, consistency is now the key, and even become better at that.
In 2006, Biko was a hot property in Kenyan rugby. Never mind he was still in school, he has risen to be a perfect example of what youth development can achieve as he rose from the junior ranks to be a core member of the Kenyan national sevens rugby team.
Rugby for me was always been something I really enjoyed doing, and the opportunity to take it to the next level, every time I got the opportunity to take it to the next level, from schools to under 18s to under 21s to the Kenya Sevens, Kenya 15s, it's just that wanting more from myself and challenging myself to get to greater heights,
Kenya was on a tour of South Africa with the Southern Spears franchise, where the team got to train with and play against the Spears.
It was a shock for me. I mean, I was actually in Form 4, and the team manager at that time called me up and told me, "Hey, get your stuff ready. You've been called up for the Kenya 15s." I mean, my parents were also surprised, but also happy for me at the same time. They knew I was in Form 4, and they obviously told me about my studies. I had to balance my studies and all, but I was only going for one trip. So anyway, it was a great opportunity to go there. Some of the guys I played with there, like John Onyango Mbaye. I mean, he's now a coach, and he's one of the people who, like in that tour, who was was looking after me, on that tour. Yeah, so I was really young. I was a baby of that squad. Yeah, and I was just glad that it was so exciting just to be the Kenya 15s there in South Africa. Yeah.
He has toured the world, played in some of the biggest tournaments, and studied the world has to offer. But the Safari Sevens tournament is always the Kenyan players' favorite, despite it being not on the IRB Sevens series. Kenya has now a bid to have Safari Sevens included in the IRB Sevens circuit as part of the World Series.
I've always ranked it as one of the best sevens tournaments that I've played in because of the atmosphere. I mean, you know, the Kenyan crowd. You can imagine even on some of the tours we go for, the Kenyan crowd is always massive and loud and exciting. So when you're playing at home on your home soil at the Safari Sevens, it's more exciting, and just that tournament, I can say that it built my sevens. Playing even in the schools category, it really let me say brought the world of sevens to me, you know.
Biko is a graduate of Management Information Systems from Daystar University. After university, Biko worked for 6 months on a contract, though right now he's among the contracted players of the national sevens team. His biggest supporters are his family, especially his parents, who allowed him to take up the sport while studying as well.
I know my bro is always excited to watch. He rallies his friends and all our neighborhood friends come and watch with him. They put on the jerseys. You know, my dad is always there telling his buddies that his son is on TV, you know, and my mom, I know, she's not really into sports, but I know she's proud of me, I know that.
He is at the peak of his career at the moment, and his wish and hope is to win a series in the 2014-2015 season and make it to the Olympics in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Once again, huge reminder, since Kenya's a huge social media nation, you can find us on Facebook /Scrum-Rugby, also on Twitter @Scrum-Rugby. Hashtag is pretty much open. Feel free to let us know what hashtag you'd probably suggest. Now, we talked about Biko early on. Young player still playing right now, and I did tease our legend for the week. That was Anampiu, very briefly. Former Sevens international, former 15s international. Very quick question now, Jason. Have you ever played with him?
I wish I had. No, I haven't.
All right. So let's move on. Let's find exactly what wealth of experience that Gordon has to share with us right here tonight on Legends.
In the world of Kenya's Sevens rugby, Gordon Anampiu definitely left a mark that turned out to be the launchpad for what is now one of the core teams of the IRB Sevens circuit. It has been a journey that he can sit back and say he started back in the day.
Started playing rugby many years ago in high school. After high school, I played for Mean Machine. That was my first club. No, probably my first club was Mombasa Sports Club, then Mean Machine. Left that, went over, played at Harlequins. Also played for Kenya Sevens and Kenya 15s, captaining both sides. Thereafter, I've also been a coach for the Kenya Sevens in 2005, 2006, and finally a director of the Kenya Rugby Football Union.
His club rugby started away from Nairobi, where most of the Kenyan players launched their careers. Gordon started at the Mombasa Sports Club, then moved on to the then team to watch, Mean Machine of Nairobi University. This is where his rugby blossomed.
My days at Mean Machine were late 80s, and that's, if you look at it, that's almost 35 years ago. So it's changed quite a bit.
But he did not end at Machine. He went on to turn out for Kenya Harlequins, where he cemented his position in the national rugby teams. Between 2005 and 2006, Anampiu coached the Kenya Sevens. It was a job that entailed preparing Kenya for only 2 legs of the IRB Sevens circuit that Kenya was invited to. Those few tournaments were enough to make him reach boiling point because of the pressure. From coaching to management, and Anampiu served as a director at the Kenya Rugby Union until 2008 when he ventured off rugby.
When I was coaching, yes, resources were a challenge when it comes to player allowances and things like that, but the expectation then was not as high as the expectation of the players playing now.
Looking back at his playing and early years of coaching, he says rugby was more of a hobby, but now it is more serious and very professional.
In my coaching days, I would say the basics were provided. A playing pitch, showers, kit, there were enough balls. There was, the transportation and the accommodation. Those are the bare basics. allowances delivered sometimes on time, sometimes not on time. But I think at that time, players were playing for different reasons. Maybe they are the same reasons today. I don't know, because I'm not really in touch. But we would get by. I mean, we would go by with 300 or 400 shillings per session per player, including the coaches and the team manager, which was fine, because the expectation then was bus fare and probably a bowl of soup after the tournament. Now the expectations are much higher, and it's something that the players and the management of the players have to reach a compromise on.
Kenya has now had 2 foreign coaches for the national sevens team, Englishman's Mike Friday and the current coach Paul True. Anampiu believes this is the right way to go if we have the resources. Gordon Anampiu, soft-spoken but a true achiever on the rugby pitch, both as player and coach. He currently runs the Carling Autos Limited Company.
Now, in case you're watching back on a bit of history, I mostly at times may be biased towards Kenya Harlequins. Jason is maybe biased towards Mamba. Tito, Mamba, and Strathmore. Gordon used to play for Kenya Harlequins.
Actually, Gordon has played for Mean Machine, has captained both the Sevens and the 15s, and also coached the Sevens. He was one of the coaches when Kenya was now on the up. And he really introduced professionalism, really pushed the players.
Jason, your contribution?
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare to find, a legend or an individual who, captains both 15s and 7s, even, in the current situation that we're in. A devastating number 13, that's what you like in your number 13. And even at 7s level, a very devastating centre. So, yeah, an absolute total legend, both at club and country level. Yeah.
All right, that's just about it we have for you this week on Scrum Rugby. I'll leave you with a question of the week. Who is currently the top try scorer of the National 7 Series? Tito, you're not allowed at all to give the answer, so instead I'll ask you guys a very simple question. We have a weekend break, once again. Your projections, who do you think will win the next leg? Very quickly as we wrap it up. Jason?
Mwamba, of course.
Mwamba?
Yes.
Technical reasons or loyalty reasons?
Loyalty and technical. I think the boys are going to come good. They've had a tough first 2 legs, but I think they'll come good in Mombasa.
All right.
Yeah.
Tito?
I'd love Homeboys to win it, but I think KCB will take it.
You think KCB will take it? Technical reason or loyalty reason?
I think the momentum they have right now, they're unstoppable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of momentum, Scrum Rugby will be back again next week, Friday. Once again, find us every Friday here on Zuku Sports. Our momentum at the moment, I guess it's safe to say, is unstoppable. So until next time, find us once again on Facebook, Scrum Rugby, and on Twitter at Scrum Rugby. We shall see you at the next leg. Have a good week.